This is a Curvy 3D4 tutorial, giving a walkthrough of the process that I used to make this image. And I'll show you all the different programs I use. Starting with Google, I like to have a folder open to the side. Then you can click on the results and drag the big images on the right straight into the folder. I like to start quite generally, and then once I've got an idea in mind, pull together research material which helps the idea. I'm going to drag them into PureRef, which lets you view lots and lots of images and keep them visible on your screen while you're sculpting. So you can drag them, arrange them, size them. This is my mood board for this image. Demons and giants and different expressions. I did some sketching. This is the thumbnail I quite liked. And I mocked up this using photos of myself from different angles. Then in Curvy, I set up a camera system. You need three objects called camera, look at, and FOV. So the camera is where the camera is placed. The look at is right in the middle of the camera's view, and the FOV goes above the look at and lets you change the lens size, the aspect and things. Then I loaded in my sketch and my mock-ups and proceeded to start sculpting. So of course we're drawing lathe shapes on imported reference planes, image planes. I'll just show this process quickly. I sculpted a man, sculpted a woman from the man, just by dragging the curves around, reshaping. So I had the same hierarchy. Sculpted the woman shape. Then I sculpted the giant with a different reference image. And again I used the man model and just tweaked the shapes. Then I rotated them into place. This is the archer and the mage and the giant. So once they were posed, I went back to the original models to do the sculpting. It's much easier to sculpt on a straight looking model because you can use symmetry and mirroring. This is my PureRef to get the expression. Notice PureRef, you can layer it over the top of another application. So this, I've got all my PureRef images ready to use. For the hands, I had a simple object made out of lots of different curvy shapes. And then once it was posed, I merged them together using voxel merge. You could use weld to parent if the fingers are spread out. Also sculpted the sword here, mostly with lathes and lofts. A bit of detailing on the wrist guard. The sculpting step I'll show in another video. So just showing the results. When you're ready to export, presumably you want to render in another program, I select all the objects which are going to use the same material, group them using Ctrl-G and join them using Ctrl-J. This makes a single mesh out of all of those parts. I'm joining them. And once I've got a single mesh, I can set the material for all those connected pieces together. So next we're going to collect all the different models which make up the hilt of the sword. And again, Ctrl-G and Ctrl-J to make them into a single mesh. And then you can see we're changing the material colour alone. We do the same for the monster skin, the same for all the different parts which use the same material. For the trees, I use TreeIt, which lets you generate all sorts of species of trees and export them in a format which is easy to use in 3D. This is my Blender setup for the skin. It's probably the most complicated material I had in this scene. It's got two shaders, one for the red skin and one for the charred black areas. I rendered out in several passes. So for instance, I rendered out a separate tree pass so I could layer that in later. Also layered out the giant separately and the archer, so I could work with them in GIMP. So in GIMP I'm starting with the background, and I've desaturated the background, adding some ambient occlusion, adding the foreground, which is more saturated, an extra blue light layer, which is rendered out separately, some clouds, tweaking the clouds, a lightning effect. I quite like working in GIMP or Photoshop in lots and lots of different layers, so I can change the sort of colour and saturation and balance of different things. I thought I needed some more trees, so I added an extra copy of the tree render, adding the archer and front, re-rendering the teeth with a bit more shine, adding the mage, and giving a bit of a colour tweak all over. And here's some close-ups of the final image. You can try out the Curvy 3D4 demo on the website now.